kind of like the cold open and stuff, if you're okay with that.
Yeah.
Okay. But sorry about coming in a little late. I was just finishing up a little bit of content for our episode.
Oh, cool. Okay, no
Yeah.
problem.
I think it's going to be an eye opener.
I'm excited.
Yeah. But yeah. How did your call go this morning?
It actually went really well. It's a friend of mine. They own in Oakland. They bought like in 2020. But the house is in a more urban area. She said you can literally see Oracle Park.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so they're ready to move on to the next home. So they want to move towards the hills area of Oakland. They've kind of outgrown that. So that's
Yeah.
what we're looking at.
Oakland actually has some really nice spots,
Yeah,
like close to the hill and stuff. I feel like people don't know about it unless you're from that area. But
exactly.
like, I'm not from that area, and then like I had to show homes in Oakland, and I was like, it's not bad. You got a view of the bay. There's
Yeah.
like actual parks around the hills over there.
Yeah, the hills are
You
very nice.
so
Yeah, it's a good investment opportunity and a good price point if you're a little bit flexible on being in East Bay, and then as long as you are aware of which parts, right,
yeah,
are going to work for you. So it went well. She's
nice.
a friend, so it's always nice when it's like that, right? It's like the conversation flows more casually, and I don't know, I
Yeah,
feel like
you're not
there's like a
having to like prove yourself.
100%. And it's also too like your friend, when you have friends that come to you and ask you about things like this and want to work with you, like they have so much trust in you, so you're not automatically working really hard to establish that out the gate. So it's a nice conversation.
I like that setup because you're lucky because all my friends, they're the same like you. They like to ask me questions too, but only after they get their own agent.
Oh, well, I trust me, I've had a couple of those too, and I'm kind of like,
I'm like, you asking me all these questions, but you got an agent too.
yeah.
And they're like, well, we trust you. I'm like, well, you don't trust your agent?
You're like, well, you got to trust me earlier. That's the thing, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
That's just how life goes, right? Sometimes your biggest fans aren't really your friends or your family, but it's like people you don't really know.
It's true. It's true. And I mean, I've had people go with other agents after they've literally told me like, wow, I've done multiple real estate transactions and I've never had somebody sit down and give me a presentation like you have.
Yep.
And to me, you're gonna give me that feedback, but then at the end of the day, you know, they go with somebody else. It's just kind of like, but then I have other clients where I'll tell them, hey, I know where you're looking to transact at. I don't specialize in that area. These are some pain points that we might have because I'm not a local expertise, but I can definitely get you in contract, negotiate upon you, or negotiate with you on behalf of you within the transaction. And but you just have to know that geographically, I'm not going to have the best insight. And they're like, no, that's fine. We know the area just fine. We got that covered. We really want you to help us with, the technical parts of it. And it's just kind of like, oh, it's so nice. Dude, we try so hard, right? Then you know that too. And we genuinely do have people's best interests at
Oh
heart,
yeah.
especially people we know.
Yeah.
Um,
I always
so
tell
yeah.
I'm like I always tell my friends and my family that uh it doesn't matter if you go with me or not, but um no one's gonna help you as much or care as much as I would.
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel like, you know what, if they don't want to work with me, I'm like, that's your loss because I got your back, but that's okay. I
Yeah.
don't want to say your loss, but if you prefer to go with someone else, that's okay. And sometimes I'm like, maybe that's better because for
Yeah.
friends and family, I got to
It's
work
true.
twice as hard, maybe sometimes for less money too.
100%. 100%. Yep. It's true. It goes back to that whole thing that we were talking about too. Like, is it a good fit?
Yeah.
Right? If it, hopefully it is based upon the relationship and whatnot, but sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
Right? That's just the reality. Like sometimes it's not. And so I've learned the longer I'm in this business as well that to identify those opportunities where I'm like, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's not a fit.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, my sanity is important too. And we got to make a living as well, right,
Yeah,
Vin?
yeah. And you know, to that point too, I agree with you. And then also, it's like, hey, look, if you don't want to work with me because you want to keep your things private and you don't want to ruin relationships because you're afraid of changing the relationship if we start working together, I can respect that too. So,
100%.
you know,
Likewise.
yeah, we see it both sides, but
Yeah.
no, just interesting stuff, and glad you got a friend who's on board and like rocking for you on this one. So
Yeah, me too. It's a tough industry, Vin. So when we get these and it's like full disclosure because that's just how I operate. And I
yeah,
know you are similar too. It's just nice to have somebody be like, nope, yep, I got it. I
understand.
want you. Like, this is
Yeah,
why I want to hire you, right? Because you're going to tell me this stuff, right? Another agent's going to say, I'm licensed. I'll sell all over California. Where do you want to go? But
yeah,
yeah.
and yeah, I always tell people when I start working with them that I'm gonna tell you everything you don't want to hear. So
Yeah.
if you don't like getting your bubble bursted, then you might want to work with someone else. But that means they're just gonna tell you everything you want to hear. So
Exactly, exactly. And beware of those people on the sales end that will tell you everything that you want to hear because I know I've come to be like, okay, okay, and I just start immediately I can recognize them like you're selling me right now.
yeah, yeah.
You're not necessarily looking out for my best interest, but you're selling me.
Yeah. And you know what? I think that is kind of a good segue for us because I can understand that, and we all know this, that not all real estate agents are created equal,
Yeah,
right?
true.
Some will care, some will work harder, some will know more, a lot more than other real estate agents.
Mm-hmm.
And it just kind of depends. Like how we were at the broker tour today, and we were
Mm-hmm.
with a bunch of agents, varying through young and old and all kinds of experience.
Yeah.
But we were laughing because they're barely talking about AI, right? And like just finally getting on that train. I don't know what seems to be like 10 years after.
It feels like it. I mean, definitely in like the tech industry, a year ago is like 10 years ago
Yeah,
with
yeah.
how fast technology moves.
Especially here in the Bay Area, things move fast, and
Yep.
if you're slow to adapt, then you are fast to die.
Yeah.
But that kind of made me think, and it was perfect for our episode today, since we're talking about AI and real estate. Um, that I can see why some people are tired of the real estate process, how
Hmm.
traditionally it's been done. And
Hmm.
now that AI is involved or kind of getting more prominent, that, maybe I should use AI instead of a human or a real estate agent to kind of
Hmm.
get through all that fluff and drama that we were just kind of talking about,
Hmm.
right? But with that, you do also take on some risks as well if
Yeah,
you
definitely.
use ChatGPT to do everything, um, to handle like the whole real estate process basically for
Hmm.
you, right? Without having someone who's a human who can empathize and tell you really how it is versus we call AI slop, where
Yeah.
they kind of give you a summary of all the data that they've got, right? And then
Yeah.
they spit it out to you,
Yeah.
right? So, yeah. So today we want to talk about AI and the pros and cons or pitfalls of using AI and not an actual real estate agent.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a viral topic that you people have probably seen on social media. The most recent one was a man in Florida who sold his own home with the help of ChatGTP, and had a quote unquote successful sale, had many positive things happen as a result of this sale, and utilizing ChatGTP. So it's an interesting topic and one that I think is going to probably help people who are looking to utilize AI as a tool, but also understand too that it has its flaws, right?
Yes. So I'm glad you brought that up because I have the video of the sale up.
Oh, let's take a
So
look.
thanks for that alley oop. I'm
Got
gonna
you.
I'm gonna share my screen and just kind of give a little context to everybody.
After 15 years in his Cooper City home, Robert Levine decided it was finally time to sell. But instead of contacting a real estate agent, he turned to the power of the prompt. ChatGPT.
I really wanted to challenge myself to use AI for the entire journey, not just piecemeal, every step along the way.
The married father of 3 says he used artificial intelligence for everything. The planning, the pricing, the marketing, even the paint.
We repainted a couple of rooms in the house because ChatGPT said that's where you're going to get the biggest return on investment. The most important thing it did for us was build out a timeline. Here's when you need to start packing your house.
ChatGPT helped Robert design the marketing materials like his open house handout and the online listing, then told him how to get his home listed on the MLS, the multiple listing service, scheduled his showings, and suggested the best day to list his home.
We ended up listing on a Tuesday.
Turned out to be terrific timing.
And I think within the first 72 hours, we had 5 offers on the home already, which was tremendous.
The Levines still held the open house scheduled for that following Saturday, but by Sunday morning, 5 days after listing their home, they had a signed contract. A contract generated by, you guessed it, ChatGPT.
It's exceeded our expectations.
Robert did hire a lawyer to review the contract and other legal documents, but other than that, his AI assistant did all the heavy lifting. So why did he do it? One of his biggest motivations was saving money.
We estimate that leveraging these AI tools will save us about 3% of the total sale.
Honestly, even when I was reading through this story, I had so many questions, which were indications to me that maybe this story was missing a lot of different information. I can see if I wasn't in real estate, not having questions because I don't know what I don't know. Right. And there becomes the nuance, the caveat of using AI, right, in place of a real estate agent, is that first of all, how did AI put the listing on the MLS?
Yes, right, because you need to be a real estate agent with a license to do that.
Correct. So ding, ding, ding. How did Chat get licensed as a real estate agent in the state of California to be able to access the MLS? Yeah, that's one of my questions.
Yep.
Right? So no, that's number one. I mean, number two, lots of questions about what was the pricing looking like? What was the strategy that he utilized, and what were his overall goals? And I feel like so much of the story doesn't talk about any of that. It's more so just like, here are 5 highlights of this man's experience selling using ChatGPT in place of an agent. And it's like, there's no context to it. It's so misleading, right?
I agree with you. Like, what did you list it for? What were the comps? Mm-hmm. Because, you can sell anything fast if it's listed below market price. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So how much of the money that you could have gotten did you leave on the table?
100%.
Right?
Uh-huh.
Right?
And how does that compare to the quote unquote savings from not using a real estate agent?
Yes.
Right?
So definitely, I agree. And what's awesome is that I did a little bit of experimenting myself with my own house, and I put it through ChatGPT, Gemini, and Claude. Basically pretended to be like a seller and say, hey, I used my house as an example. Mm-hmm. So I asked it for comps. I asked it, let me just go through it with you.
Yeah, let me see.
Here's my house, y'all. You can see what I paid for it. How long ago I got it for.
All the nosy neighbors watching the podcast right now.
Don't judge me because the house still looks the same. I didn't paint it yet. Not like this, though. I changed the inside a little bit. I forgot these pictures were still here. we updated a little bit, but from the exterior, it still looks the same. But this is one of these old school craftsman homes. Okay. So basically, would you let ChatGPT negotiate your biggest sale or purchase of your life? And like I said, I wanted to use my house as an example of what are the pros and cons of using ChatGPT or AI to do this process for you. And first, I want to, before I kind of go into it, we don't want to knock on AI because I don't want to make it sound like we're hating on ChatGPT because I use AI, all right? And like we were talking earlier, like if you're not using it, you're definitely behind.
Yeah, yeah. You're definitely limiting your own efficiency for sure.
Yeah, yeah. And what are some of the pros you would think, Julia? What are some pros you think a person would use ChatGPT, or even for yourself? What are the pros you think related to real estate? Why we would say, yeah, it's a good thing to use ChatGPT for that.
So I will say this. I do think AI to a point can be garbage in, garbage out. I'm not trying to knock AI either. I absolutely use it in my business every day. I probably use it in a more simpler way than most. For example, I will write marketing for my listings, and then I will use AI to refine it and polish it.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, or to curate like a content calendar with ideas and stuff like that. That's how I utilize AI. I will utilize AI for pricing and comps, but I don't pull my comps from Zillow, and I don't pull my comps from Redfin, and I don't pull my comps from some of the bigger platforms in real estate because they don't include all of the information. And that's the key thing there. And so if I'm, as an agent, utilizing AI for pricing or comparable home values, I'm manually pulling this data myself from the MLS, which agents and brokers have access to. And not only am I pulling that data from the MLS, I'm cherry picking it based upon what is specific to the house I'm trying to list. So taking into account factors like location, for example, on a very hyper local level. I have houses all on the same street. I'll use my house for an example. About 20 of them back up to the middle school, my house included. Now, those houses that back up to the middle school, that is a big thing that buyers point out. And
It has
so
an effect on the price.
100%. And so here's the thing. If I'm selling my house and I'm using a comparable home that just sold that is over, 25 houses down from me, but they don't back up to the school, they back up to the foothills, because here in my neighborhood, that's absolutely possible. I'm not taking into account, right, that detail that my house is backing up to the school, and how is that going to impact the pricing, right? So, and that's the difference between an agent and AI. AI is going to go and just pull the comp,
Yep.
right? And so that's how I use it. I do use it, but again, I put the information in there. I've screened the information I put in there, and then I'm very specific with what I want it to analyze.
Yeah. Sounds like what a good agent would do. So respect for that to you, Julia. And ironically enough, I use ChatGPT or Claude to kind of tell me the pros and cons. And let's just go through it.
Yeah.
So like you were saying, it does a lot for you, right? And we don't want to knock it.
Absolutely.
And the pros, as this one mentions, is research at 2 a.m. So I kind of agree with these points. Buyers these days can get neighborhood info, school ratings, commute times, flood zones, and crime data without waiting on anyone. So that's, that's a great thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that was always there because Google was around, right? But definitely AI has made it a lot easier to access.
Yeah.
All right. Terminology decoder. So a lot of real estate jargon is kind of easier translated, or you can translate real estate jargon through AI,
Yeah.
right? Comp awareness. Now, this one's kind of a gray area, but a buyer can ask AI to explain what comps to get a ballpark. So we'll talk a little bit more deeply about that. Lowering the intimidation factor. So first time
100%.
buyer feels less dumb walking in and they've done
Yeah.
their homework. Yeah.
100%. Yep, I agree with that.
And speeding up document review. So AI can summarize like 40-page HOA docs. And I don't know about you, Julia, but I'm already starting to get my own clients doing this. Are you noticing that?
Yeah, you know, I haven't had a client come out and tell me that they're doing this. I'm sure they are. Why wouldn't they? I mean, I review the disclosure package, and then I also rerun it through
Chat.
AI, yeah, chat or whatnot, only because I want a second set of eyes on it.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure this is something happening. I mean, those disclosure packages are a few hundred pages long and maybe more if you have an HOA. So it is definitely valuable to have AI help a buyer who is not in the industry, you know, have that information feel like it's more digestible, right? Like it's not going to take them a month to read through this package.
Yeah, I do agree with that. These disclosure packages, which come with a house for sale, are usually very, very lengthy, very robust, and it takes some time to go through them. And having chat able to go through it is actually really awesome, I must say. And I know a lot of my clients are starting to use that as well, because they'll tell me straight up, well, I plugged this into my chat, and this is what it says. Do you see the same thing?
Yeah.
So my clients are kind of asking me as more of like an underwriter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which I really dig this process, because I do the same thing as you, where I review all the disclosures myself still, but I'll still plug it in to chat so I can ask questions or find things easier, but I'm still in control. So it's like I'm still the
Exactly.
one inputting and making the decisions, but I'm just using the AI to help and assist to read through the documents. But pretty, I would say, because of the industry and how it's like modernizing, you know, back in the day, older real estate agents used to tell us where like, oh, we had to go to the client's house to sign the papers in person physically. And now we have DocuSign, which is electronic signatures.
Yeah.
And I'm in the camp where, yeah, technology is actually helping us make things more convenient, but it's not doing things for us. And that's the whole point. We don't want it to do everything for us, all right? So I kind of agree with this stuff and the pros, because it makes our industry actually easier and faster and more efficient. Okay?
Yeah.
But the cons are, it's confidently wrong. AI hallucinates. It might quote an outdated law, wrong tax date, or made up stat. It doesn't know what it doesn't know.
I love that terminology, confidently wrong.
Yes.
And that's
Right?
very true.
Because ChatGPT is like a little dog. It wants to please you, wants to make you happy, and a lot of times they'll just make up information out of thin air to answer the question to be able to make you happy.
100%. Yeah, I've noticed that about AI too. And there's quite a few times where I feel like I have to bring it back,
Yes.
where I'm like, okay, no. I get where you're trying to go because most people would be wanting you to go there, but no, we need to bring this back here,
Yes.
so we can really make sure we vet this information. So 100% agree with that
And
one.
granted, I know some people that will do the same thing and will just answer and answer and answer.
Confidently
even if
wrong.
yeah,
Yes,
even if they
yes,
don't know it. But at
true.
least with a human being, I know agents like you, myself, and like other top agents out there that if they don't know the answer, they'll tell you. But the difference is that they're not going to try to make up something. They're going to try to do more research and take some time and get back to you. Right?
100%. Yep. I'm big on that. If I don't know the answer, I will get back to you, but I'm not going to give you the incorrect answer.
Exactly.
100%.
All right. No local context. So AI can't tell you if it's a quiet street. So this goes to your point, right? If you're looking at a property that's next to a school zone or like on a busy street, or maybe this particular street has one of those houses where there's lots of cars and unexplainable activity going on in that house, AI is not going to really be able to pick that out. Versus if you know that neighborhood, you know this area, or you actually just go physically with your clients and say, hey, you see that house over there that's not really keeping up with their lawn and everything like that, and all the cars parked outside? Maybe that's something to consider.
Yeah.
All right?
Yep.
So definitely AI hasn't been able to do that yet.
True.
This is a big one, but can't read the room on a deal. Negotiation is physical or psychology. AI doesn't know the seller, what the seller's going through, and like if they're going through some divorce or trouble or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. So I had that happen to me in my recent listing, where I had 3 offers, and I was just getting a second opinion and asking Chat, how should we handle these offers, being that we've got 3 offers for the listing and the prices were varying, but what should we do? Mm-hmm. And it gave me some good answers, but it didn't know the situation. It didn't know that the top offer was like only doing 10% down, mm-hmm. and that they were already at their max. It didn't calculate the second offer and how much they liked that property, because I seen them at the open house at the twilight, and they saw it with their agent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So these are all really important context, and like knowing just intuitively how much an agent is talking, like how an agent is talking to you, shows how much they really like it or maybe don't like it, or like how much their buyers like it or they don't like it.
Yeah, all those conversations that happen where it's, agents are belly to belly having these conversations on the phone.
Yes.
That matter and have a big impact on how the transaction plays out.
Exactly. And those are really, really big indicators or context clues that a lot of times equal into lots of money, like tens of thousands of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Mm-hmm. And that's what a lot of people don't see or understand, that when you compare what that can equate to in terms of that large amount of money. I mean, your agent has already earned their commission multiple times over.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
because of that information, right?
Yeah.
Like they have, because they're seeing things in real time.
Definitely. The next one is disclosure blind spot. So AI can summarize, but it can't flag what's missing or what's vague in statements. And I'll definitely go through that as well.
That's a good one.
Yeah, and false confidence, right? The most dangerous is one who thinks they know everything because AI told them.
Yeah, definitely.
And to all the AI ride or die bros right now, I use AI for this.
I swear, I do use AI. I'm not just here to say
Yeah.
AI is awful. And I feel the same way. I mean, I think AI has a lot of benefits to it, but
Yes.
I mean, that confidently wrong, I just resonates with me so much, because at the end of the day too, I mean, as licensed real estate agents working, at brokerages, we have ethical obligations, we have fiduciary obligations, right, to put our clients' best interest first and foremost. And if we do not do that, there are repercussions for us, right, as small business owners, as licensed
Yes.
real estate agents. And so what is the repercussion
Yeah.
for AI, right? There is none. And
Yeah.
this is the biggest financial transaction of many individuals' lives, right? Purchasing property. And so,
Yeah.
you start to weigh who has more skin in the game, right?
Right.
Certain things you
know-
want to DIY, certain things you don't.
Yes, totally agree. Because even one of the comments on that video we were talking about was like, we already know agents don't do anything, and this is why they get a commission for not doing anything. But in reality, Yeah, this is why we get our commission is because we have a fiduciary duty to get your back, versus like you using yourself. Okay, there's no bearing, no nothing to kind of protect you. It's like when you were talking, it reminded me of you can definitely have a lawyer, or you can go to court and represent yourself. But
100%. Yeah, yeah. Exactly. Or you can, let's say you have, health wise, you want to get dietary recommendation. You can use chat for that. But when it comes time to go and have the physical, have the doctor look at you and everything like that, are you going to just take a picture of yourself and upload it to AI and say, hey, give
yeah.
me a physical evaluation?
Yeah, like I use WebMD, but I don't. I'm not gonna trust it 100%.
Yeah, exactly. It's a tool. It's not and a resource, but it's definitely not a
Yeah,
professional guidance that you want to stake,
yeah,
high stake situations on, like your
yeah,
health or your finances or whatnot.
exactly. Because
Yeah.
if I did believe in WebMD 100%, right now I have stage 5 cancer.
Oh
So,
my God, we all do. We all do.
all right, but
Hmm.
to that point, this is why we say AI is a great tool. It's a great starting point, but you still always, I think that's like our favorite line, or one of our favorite lines on this show is like, besides for it depends, it's also get your own agent.
100%. Yeah. Get somebody
So,
who's going to advocate for you and negotiate for you,
exactly.
right?
So,
And has the whole picture. AI, unfortunately, just does not have that full picture based upon what we were just talking about, that information that get exchanged, right, during the transaction. So,
yep, exactly.
yeah.
So here's my house that I bought in 2016. All right. And, I'm trying to,
Happy 10-year home anniversary, then.
woo, 10 years. I can't believe we made it. I thought I was going to foreclose so many times.
Oh my gosh. Well, I know one thing I know for sure about this being your 10-year home anniversary, you definitely have a really great interest rate on that property. So
Yes,
you're not going anywhere, or at least your ownership
I'm
in that house
sure.
ain't going nowhere.
Well, I might be going somewhere, but it's because I'm able to use this house as my stepping stone if I wanted to go
There
anywhere.
you go.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So, in any case, we're trying to figure out if I wanted to use it as a stepping stone and sell it and go somewhere else.
How would we
What?
do? Yeah, let's
Yeah,
hear
how
it.
do we do it? What should I sell it for?
Let's see.
So, with that, we already know we're talking about AI, but from the beginning, we've already had this problem, and that was beginning with Zillow and Redfin, because they
Mhm.
already gave you estimates, and that was like the first battle for real estate agents.
It's true. It's true. The
We were
Zestimate or the Redfin
yeah,
estimated value.
Restimate or Redfin estimate, right?
Restimate. I like
We
that.
would
Yeah.
always tell people don't trust those numbers because it's just an algorithm.
That's it.
And lo and behold, look at what they're telling me my house is worth. First off, Redfin is saying it's about 873. And first off, I said, screw you, get the hell out of here. So then I say, what does Zillow say? And look at that,
It's a big difference.
107. Two big, humongous website real estate information providers giving me almost 200K difference in price.
100%. And I could not let this moment pass, Vin, without pointing out that Zillow and Redfin each have their own vested interest within the real estate market. Zillow loves to try to list properties, and so it would make sense that they have a higher estimate or zestimate than Redfin. Redfin is notorious. They like to represent buyers on a discounted commission amount. And so it makes sense, again, that Redfin would reflect a lower value, right, as they're trying to incentivize buyers to contact them.
Great points. Great points. So AI, I mean, they would probably know that, but to have that as context, I imagine that's a little bit difficult. Meaning, like, what they're gonna do is they're just gonna scrape whatever's information is available. They're not gonna really hold too much weight on who owns Zillow or who owns Redfin and what their
Ulterior
goals are.
motives
Yeah,
are.
yeah, right. So AI, Chat, Gemini, and someone called it Gemini. So now I can't stop calling it Gemini. I can't stop getting
Gemini.
that out of my mind. And I like it better. It's just like Gemini, right?
For sure going nowhere now. It's going to be with you forever, Gemini.
Yeah. And Claude are going to scrape the same information online and use this as a data point. And already, if they're using this as a data point, the numbers are already off. They're
Right.
already skewed.
Yeah,
All
you're
right?
already starting behind where you should be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we'll start with chat. And I say, hey, how much is my home worth at 185 South 21st Street? And it says today, roughly, it's about 1.05 to maybe 1.1 in price. Now, if you're curious, Gemini says about the same, 109 to maybe almost 1.2. So almost 100K more than what chat said. And Claude, it says 1.3 almost,
This is so
right? But around
interesting.
1.2. So again, we're already starting off on a bad foot.
We are, because I'm also thinking about this. If I'm a consumer, right, and I'm just looking at these as data points and not understanding all this information that we talked about previously about where are these AI platforms pulling this information and
Yes.
what are the maybe exterior motives of the platforms they're pulling this information from. I'm confused, and if I'm probably trying to go with my gut feeling or what makes me feel happy, I'm going to try to go as high as possible. So I'm just thinking, right? Human nature, let's just say it's at the higher end,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. Yeah, and you had a point. So my next question was, what are you using as data points to come up with that? And first off, they got this one, 180 South 21st Street. Now, I know this one. This was my neighbor's house across the street, and it recently just sold. So this was an easy pick. I mean, it sold for $890. It's a different type of style, but they're obviously adding weight for that. At least Claude is. But check it out. Now it uses this other one, 206 South 21st Street. And I look at 206 South 21st Street, and I'm like, I know this house. This house hasn't sold in years. I don't know, why did it give me this data point? And if you look at it, the last time this house sold was 2010.
It's a long time.
And what we know about, with at least appraisers who, for the listener, don't know who appraisers are, they work for the bank. They're the person to tell the bank, like, hey, this home is worth this much, so you should loan them, the buyer, this much based on what I think the home is worth. And those appraisers aren't going to use any homes that have sold further than 3 months ago.
Yeah, that data
Right.
becomes outdated very quickly.
Very quickly, right? But you see here already, the pitfall is that they're using some house that hasn't even sold, but it's just giving me an answer, right?
Yeah.
And same thing with this one. This one sold in December, which is kind of close, but still out of the cutoff, right? But, okay, January. So I say it's still within line, right? But already it's kind of making me wonder or kind of doubt the data that it's giving me.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. And here I will say as well, as a real estate agent, and somebody who's been within the industry for some time now, you got to think, and this chat's not going to tell you this either. So most of the buyers that we come into housing here all have financing. So yeah, we have some cash buyers, but primarily they are financing buyers. And so if you have a buyer who's using financing, the appraisal is going to be huge. Like that's going to play a huge part of the transaction, as far as if their lending is going to go smoothly, if they're going to need to come up with more money, should there be something like an appraisal gap. And if you are DIYing this yourself and you're saying, well, I have this comp based up, I'm going to use this information. I mean, you're now basing,
Old data.
off of data that an appraiser's not even going to look at. And so even if you think it's great, you get in a contract, you potentially already have an issue on the financing part of it because appraiser's not even going to use the same comps you used. So now the likelihood of that transaction going into an issue or running into an issue because maybe you don't get final loan approval, maybe there's an appraisal gap now, maybe buyer needs to come up with more funds in order to get their final loan approval, and maybe they can't.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Yeah, definitely. If you somehow, by the grace of God, get your offer accepted using this, but for some reason, maybe you don't have an appraisal contingency and it under appraises, then you are stuck either having to come up with the difference or forfeiting your deposit if you don't want to move forward, right?
Yeah.
Or if you were still got your offer accepted with the appraisal contingency, good. You got a way to back out. But even with that, there's very many complications because how do you know? First off, we're in the Bay Area. A lot of times keeping your appraisal contingency isn't gonna help you get your offer accepted. So you have to kind of know really what it should appraise for to be able to make a decision if you want to keep that appraisal or not, which is basically goes to how to set up an offer best for you to protect you, but also get your offer accepted.
Right. A well-informed decision that's backed by data and information that typically only
reliable.
comes from agent to agent. Yeah. Because of the profession that we're in. And so what I started thinking about as well, Vin, is that, okay, if I'm a seller, if I'm this seller, and I go into contract, and I'm using this irrelevant comp data because it's so stale, I probably didn't verify the pre-approval. I probably have no idea what questions to ask beyond, hi, Mr. and Mrs. Lender, can you verify this pre-approval? Did you issue it? Yes, I did. Okay, click. Right. What about all of the other underlying questions that we typically ask, right, as agents to understand and get a good indication of what the financial situation is of the buyer in case there might be, an appraisal gap?
Right.
Right?
Because, yeah, I mean, you could just see right here, 2 data points, 180 South 21st Street, 251 South 21st Street, both around the same size, but sells for different prices, right? And if it was up to AI, all these prices of the homes would sell for the same amount, depending on the features, right?
Right. It would just be very cookie cutter in black and white.
But we know the reason why maybe this one might sell for over this one is because it might be a little bit more updated, or it might have an ADU, or it might not be next to a neighbor that is doing an Airbnb and they always have trouble there.
There you go. Yep.
So there's a quick example. And chat basically was telling me, like, it's all over the place, basically, right? You can already see it here.
Yeah.
Right? Same thing here. So the next question I went with was, is this a good place to buy? And first off, I kind of got offended, to be honest.
You mean chat didn't try to sugarcoat anything and just basically
No.
spit out whatever?
Look, it said no fluff because I tell chat I don't want fluff. So I tell
No fluff. So Vin, no fluff.
yeah. So it says it's okay, but not a great place to buy.
Girl, I love it here. I've been here for 10 years.
And that's the thing, right? I was gonna say that, like, if I listened to chat, I wouldn't have been able to feel comfortable buying this place. And for me, for the past 10 years, I loved it there. I still love it there. And if I didn't have buy that place, honestly, I don't think I would have been able to buy another place. And I feel like I would have been more behind than a lot of my peers and friends.
Yeah.
Not having bought this house.
As a buyer, the potential for AI to become a serious roadblocker, right?
Yeah.
To your home ownership goals. I can see that.
That you call it a roadblocker, we call it a C blocker. So
C blocker.
no, you don't know what a C blocker is?
I don't. But I'm waiting for you to tell me. So
Well, it's just a nice way to say cock block.
I have not finished my afternoon coffee. A seed walker. I thought you were gonna get all technical on me. I thought you were gonna tell me it was like
That's
related
technical.
to some. No, I like like
Chat's
some
cock blocking me.
AI term, some AI term.
Well, technically, it's blocking me from a potential opportunity, an investment opportunity, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But, some of these things, all jokes aside, some of these things it says, I can definitely see, but at the end of the day, it still takes like the human aspect, which is having to go there yourself, having to talk to the neighbors yourself, and really get a verification or confirmation of these things, of this data that it just scraped online. Right? So it says it's an affordable entry point in San Jose, which is true. The homes here in downtown San Jose where I'm at are still relatively more affordable than other parts of San Jose. It's close to downtown and has future upside. That's kind of true. I have so much pride in San Jose. I love San Jose, but I also love roasting San Jose. And
Don't we all?
as a San Jose resident, just like you, downtown has always been on the upside. Ever since I was born, it's been on the upside.
It's a process, okay? It's a marathon, not a sprint, okay? Little by little.
But there are cool things happening in downtown. That's
Yeah.
for sure. And I'm just roasting. But
Yeah.
rental potential, I can definitely agree with that.
For sure.
So because everyone, it's central and everyone's either going to San Jose State or trying to work in the peninsula, but don't want to pay peninsula price.
Right.
Right. So why it's not a gray area? It says neighborhood quality is mid to low tier for SJ. I'm gonna beat you up for that, ChatGPT. I mean, I would say mid, but man, low tier is, in my opinion, is kind of a stretch.
Yeah.
So, higher crime versus nicer parts of San Jose. Well, okay, you are in downtown.
Yeah.
So, but I guess to me, it doesn't say the whole story.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, all in all, based on what we've talked about so far, let's see what Gemini says. Is this a good place to buy? Whether this is a good place to buy depends entirely on your goals and long-term family and it depends if you're looking for a long-term family or fixer-upper or rental investment. Okay, why it's good? Walkability, prime location, investment potential, having the detached garages, historic charm, market resilience. Okay. Cons is school ratings, safety and perception, and a lot of maintenance. Okay. And just out of curiosity, this is what Claude says. Short answer, pass. Unless you're a real estate investor targeting SJSU students, then maybe, right? And I'm not gonna go through all of it now, but 3 different AIs and 3 pretty differing answers.
Yeah. It's
Right.
interesting.
Oh, and it's almost like they all are kind of hating on it. Google was the nicest to me about my neighborhood.
Yeah, I would say Gemini was definitely the nicer one here.
Right. But
Yeah.
again, it's still 3 different answers, and I would say that there's some truth to some of it, but all of it is not true.
Yeah.
And I think the only way for a regular buyer to be able to decipher that is, of course, use AI as a tool, but having your own agent who's experienced and knowing these areas already and have shown other buyers these areas, have shown other clients or have clients bought in this area already, is a way better data pool to scrape from versus like the entire internet where it's a lot of everything.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, anybody can put anything on the internet. Let's not forget that.
Yep. Now here's an interesting one. Now after that, I asked, should I waive my inspection contingency of buying this home?
Then's like, let's step this up.
Let's step this up. And it says, no, don't waive it on this property. Starts to hate on it instantly. Old plumbing, old sewer lines. Never do it. Okay. And it says to keep 5-7 days max. All right. Gemini says this current market inventory is sitting less than a month's supply. Waiving contingencies is a common tactic to win. However, for this property, it's a massive gamble, and advise against waiving your inspection. All right. Talks about the foundation issues, outdated systems, the flip factor. And this one, no, don't waive an inspection on a 1910 home ever. Ever. All right?
Very bold statement.
Very bold statement.
Yeah.
Now, as a real estate agent, I can tell you that we'll tell our clients almost the same thing, which is, hey, if you waive your contingencies, this is what you're risking.
Yes.
But we know the market, and we know that any any offers that may have a contingency is not going to get your offer accepted, right?
That's right.
So if you listen to Chat, Gemini, and Claude, honestly, you're not getting the full context, and you're probably never going to get your offer accepted if you're going to just keep all of these contingencies like this.
And you're 100% right. And here's the thing, Ben. Silicon Valley, we are such a unique market compared to the rest of the nation in how our real estate market moves and the information that is provided to buyers before they even make an offer on the home. I mean, it's a competitive market, but what I will say is that buyers have a great luxury here. That's very different from other markets. And that luxury is that you typically have about 95 to 97% of the important information that you need on this home with a full disclosure package before you even write an offer. So before you decide whether you want to waive your contingency, there's a very high likelihood that you already have a home inspection in that disclosure package to review. And a really good agent is also looking at who did the home inspection, what did they call out, what are some things that we should really look at, what are things that are really more standard. And so this is not taking into account any of that, right? This is like from a very general standpoint, assuming that in Silicon Valley, a disclosure package doesn't include inspections. And here we normally have three different types of inspections, more depending on what the features of the home are. So typically the home inspection, roof inspection, pest inspection. If there's a swimming pool, there could be a pool inspection or a chimney inspection. So it's very generalized, and it's not specific, at least to our market here in Silicon Valley.
Right. And what you're saying is important is because whatever's on the disclosures, inspection reports, HOA docs is going to, depending on what's on there, is going to give you either the confidence or the consideration of keeping or removing your contingencies, which is a really huge factor on how you get your offers accepted.
Exactly.
Now, based on that, this kind of goes with the whole encompassing why we should review disclosures and use ChatGPT, but at the end still have an experienced agent. Because here's an example I did for my listing. So I asked my listing, I downloaded and put in all the HOA documents so it can review. And it says, what do the HOA docs say about what's included in the HOA fee? Any utilities, maintenance, and amenities? Mm-hmm. And right off the bat, I think it reviewed an old document because there were old HOA documents that are included as well, mm-hmm. right? When you look at these disclosure packages, the point is for them, the sellers, to give you every documentation that belongs to this home, even if it's old, because the point is they have to disclose.
Right. Those are called historical documents, and the seller is legally required to provide those to the buyer here in California if they have them.
Exactly. And with that being in mind, I entered that all in ChatGPT, and ChatGPT wasn't able to find out, differentiate. So wow. It says the HOA fee was $350, and at the end of it, it tells me everything, and I'm like, at the end, the HOA is actually $573. Like, you know what I mean? Look,
Updated reality. I love that.
right?
Breaking
So,
news.
and I'm like, okay, good thing I knew that, right? So I still have to be on top of it. But here's
Yeah.
another example. An important question we always ask when there's an HOA involved is, what's the percent funded of their reserves? So, for a listener, a reserve funds is basically a pot of money that everybody in the HOA and the community put money towards. And when there's things that need to be fixed around the neighborhood, like a roof or a broken street,
Resurfacing of pavement in the common areas or the parking lot.
exactly, that the HOA will use those funds, right? And for a healthy HOA, usually they need to have at least 50% is really good, right?
Yeah.
We want to see at least like 30%, but 50% is like saying, hey, if everything were to go wrong in this community, we have at least 50% of the funds in the bank account already set up so that we can take care of the neighborhood. Okay? So with that, I asked, what's the percent funded here? And it says 70%, depending on a few points. And that's pretty broad or pretty vague. But all that to say that really, when I looked through it myself, they're saying 70% cash on cash, which just means that the cash that they pull out and pull in, they have at least 70% of that, which is great. But we want to know about the components, meaning if they need to fix stuff, how much of the money do they have to fix stuff? And when you're looking at the HOA docs, I reviewed it a lot closer because, as from the beginning, we always talked about you and I, as the human element, we still need to be the captain, right?
Yeah.
We still need to be to watch out for the inputs because, or be in control of the inputs. And look, the most recent reserve study says that it's 46% funded. So already, you're like, how can anyone just rely fully and sell their house or buy a house on ChatGPT alone?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and here's the thing, guys, too. When you start talking about how funded is the HOA, it is extremely important to understand how important that information is because it affects the lending. So if you are coming in with a mortgage or financing, lender is checking certain information within that community. The HOA's reserve fund is absolutely one of them. And I can say, I mean, Vin, you probably heard it when we were at our market meeting this morning, those requirements for lenders for percentage of reserve funds is going up this year in HOAs. So it's going to be higher and that affects lendability. And once you start getting into that area where your lendability is an issue, the buyer pool starts to shrink for that community. And so it can be a real issue and it can impact home values within that community. And that's why this is an important piece of information that Vin is discussing with and kind of trying to play with AI to see how it identifies it and communicates it. Because if you're not a real estate professional, it's incredibly difficult to know all these extra factors, right, as to why this is a very important piece of information.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. Because at the end of the day, you're making an offer to purchase something that is a lot of money. And if the offer you're making is based on a false foundation, like old data that's not correct, home prices that haven't sold recently or have sold recently but are not exactly the same type of product, meaning it's not on the same type of street or it has the same type of updates or things like that with the human eye that can see. Obviously, AI can see if it's updated or not too, but only a human can empathize with another human saying that that galley kitchen's are pretty tight. And if I gain a few pounds, I'm probably going to hit the sides of the galley kitchen pretty soon.
Yeah.
Or actually, this family room is nice, big, and open, and I prefer that type of floor plan versus this other home that has the same square footage, same bedroom count, but the floor plan is so cut off and sectioned, and it doesn't feel as open.
Exactly. As we know, all square footage is not created equal
Yep,
in terms of
exactly.
value.
Exactly. So I thought those were just huge eye openers when just playing around with it for a few minutes and seeing how varying the information is from each chat and how well it had some information that was accurate, but how inaccurate some other information is. And if you weren't somebody whose profession is in this industry for a while and knowing all of these things through experience, I wouldn't have been able to flag those.
Yeah. You don't know what
Right.
you don't know. Yeah.
So I was gonna pull up this last example, but honestly, it didn't really do much. And basically, I wanted to ask it to write me like a letter to a seller, just because
A buyer
sometimes,
love letter.
yeah, a buyer love letter,
You're
just to
freaking
see
out those.
like how or if they're weird or not, right? Now, first off, buyer letters are discouraged nowadays. Before, buyers would write a letter to the seller. They call it a love letter to state their case, to show the seller, we really love your home. This is why. This is who we are, and hopefully, not only the price you'll like, but you'll like us as buyers too. But it's discouraged now because fair housing wants to make it all even, meaning like they don't want you to get your offer accepted just because you're having a baby and this other family who's not having a baby is in the same kind of situation financially as you, but just because they're not having a baby doesn't mean that you should just not look over them. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna say that's kind of an extreme case, and honestly, I'd give it to the family with a baby, but same price and all. But that's different for everybody.
Nobody give Vin an offer buyer letter, love letter. And if you
Don't give
do,
it
make
to
sure
me.
you tell him you're having like 5 kids.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'll ask for proof. I'll be like, just show me
Proof
them
of 5
pictures.
kids.
I want their thumbprint and signature.
I need to see those tax returns real quick.
Yeah, exactly, dude. But the main gist of it is that you're still allowed to write letters, but it has to be kind of careful. And I wanted to see what it would write.
Oh,
Right?
interesting. Yeah.
And honestly, everything was kind of very cookie cutter for each chat. It was like saying something that was very vague, and not really saying anything specific, but making it sound like we really like the home.
Yeah.
So, I appreciate the character of the home. Okay, what does that mean? What kind of character it has?
Yeah.
Right? Solid bones, right?
Has good bones.
Yeah, exactly, right? Same thing with us. We were immediately struck by the character and the history of this home,
Oh,
right?
they all starting to sound the same. Yeah.
Right. So, even with that, I know people use this chat to make letters, but at the end of the day, you still want to have your own input. Like I said, you still got to be the captain of the ship and add the specifics to the letter to actually make it hit. Otherwise, it's just going to sound generic. And like anything else with AI, if you just use everything for AI, it's not going to sound genuine, and it's not
Yeah.
going to be the best.
Yeah, it's not gonna give you the greatest potential advantage it could be. It could if it's not written in a way that helps you connect with the seller on an emotional level. And so if you're gonna write a buyer offer letter, you definitely want to talk with your agent so they can help you create one that's gonna have the biggest impact if the seller is willing to look at it. So
Yeah, totally. So,
yeah.
I'm gonna stop sharing now, but I think we made it pretty apparent that ChatGPT is, although a great tool, you still got to be the person swinging the hammer. The hammer's not gonna do the job for you.
Yeah, definitely. And it's just so interesting to me, all of the stuff that we went through, because a lot of it lines up with what other articles I've read about this particular situation that we started off with about the man selling his home in Florida, and kind of what the gaps were in information in this viral story that didn't give an accurate picture of kind of the entire process, including pain points and points where there was probably a lot of missed potential opportunity, especially just to wrap up. I know the guy got like 5 offers on the property, and negotiation, you got multiple offers, and what did, what was he able to capitalize in that situation? I mean, 9 times out of 10, if you're not using an agent, you probably just accept the highest offer. You
Yeah.
don't even try to negotiate, right? And so it's
Yeah.
a big miss.
What I'm curious is how much money did he leave on the table, if any, not using an agent, and what were comps like, what was the other past sales prices are, because like you said, there's a lot of holes in the story. But for a normal person who's watching our episode, or a normal person who's thinking about hopping in the market or selling their home, and they meet with you, Julia, and they're asking like, "Hey, Julia, should I use ChatGPT to buy a home?" They're probably not in those exact words, but I'm sure they're thinking it. But maybe they're kind of like undercover about it, like, "Julia, hey, what's this, what's that," and they're comparing ChatGPT. Like, what would you say to a person who's considering ChatGPT in this process, basically?
I would say my word to the wise, it's a resource, a tool. It's definitely not a hyper-local professional, right? It's great for framework. I think that's a good way that I would put it, like framework in understanding the process of buying a house. It's definitely not going to give you that hyper-local insight that we get. Like, for example, Vin, you and I went to that meeting this morning. The national news doesn't have that information about the activity in Silicon Valley the past week like we do, in real time like we do.
Yeah.
And that information is so valuable for a buyer, for example, who is thinking about buying a home, wants to maybe use contingencies to protect themselves, right? And so AI is not going to give you that. AI is not at our meetings. AI takes very general information and regurgitates it out to try to give you, easy to follow and easy digestible information. And let's all not forget that, like, the whole point of AI is to make information easily digestible and less intimidating, right? And so that doesn't mean it's perfect, though. It has its flaws, and you need to have checks and balances to that. And having an agent ensures that it's not the blind leading the blind, because AI is also still in its infancy stages, even though its capabilities are very impressive. It's still being developed.
Totally.
What about you, Vin? How do you feel about that? What would you say to somebody who's coming around telling you, "Hey, you hear about that story?
Yeah,
What do you think, Vin?"
I would say that that's pretty cool, but also don't believe everything you see and hear, and that you don't know the whole story. I always tell everybody this, but I always say there's 3 sides to every story. There's this side, there's that side, and the truth.
That's funny. That's true. That's a good saying. I've never heard of that.
And, all that to say is that I see value in both. And it's only how do I say this? I would say that it's smart for you to use both.
100%.
And know the value in each. Like, we know that an agent's value is in, like, judgment, like relationships, like you were saying, like the data we heard today at the broker's tour from other real estate agents about how many people came to the open house, how many offers did this listing have. Those aren't information that agents or anyone puts readily available online so that AI can scrape it. That's only scraped when we make relationships, when we go to meetings, when we talk to people, like you say, belly to belly, and reading situations, right? And AI can not do that, but it can help you prepare. It can help you get smart about some things, but an agent can help you get it done right.
Absolutely. And I mean, if you kind of think about it, AI in partnership with a really great agent is really going to give you an advantage, right? Because it will help you, it'll help you understand information, but then also your agent will let you know what's accurate, what's not, and what are some other things that wasn't included that you absolutely need to be aware of.
Yeah, totally. So with that, before you, listener, are thinking about buying your next home, start with ChatGPT. Sure, try asking it some questions. But at the end of the day, what do they need to do, Julia?
You need to hit us up.
Go get your own agent. Go talk to an agent.
Yes.
Talk to them, compare the answers, and you'll know if you're working with a good agent depending on their answers. But don't just rely on AI itself.
Yeah, yeah, don't do that. I mean, I think you have a bigger potential to leave money on the table as a seller, or to overlook something that may put you in a vulnerable financial position as a buyer, right?
Exactly. Awesome, man. I think that was a great episode.
I think that was like our longest episode. I think we should do something going forward, maybe once a month when we film, where it's kind of like agent versus AI, and we just take like a question, and then
Yeah,
that would
that'd
be
be
kind of
cool.
cool, right?
Yeah, it'd be a fun little segment.
Yeah, just like a quick little yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, hopefully this was helpful to anyone that was listening out there. And yeah, you got anything else, Julia?
No, that's it for this one.
All right. Well, catch us on all the socials. You'll see the information down there or up there, whatever.
All the information's here, wherever it may be.
And
It's somewhere in
until
a
next
caption.
Yeah. And until next time.
All right, bye guys. Take care.